original BMW fluid. I tried Castrol 75W. I tried Motul DCTF, which is in the car right now. And all of them are fine in the beginning for like first 100 kilometers or so. And then as the time passes and you drive the car more and more, you're back to the same thing. It's just really difficult to shift into the second gear. And I hate that. So, this is Liqui Moly 75W. There's BMW part number, MTF LT3 approved, so you can go into this gearbox. And gearbox oil additive, MOS2, which is a friction additive. And I put this in my E46 before the winter, and I started that car at -10 degrees Celsius, and it was shifting fine from the first shift. It would shift smoothly into the second gear. That being said, E46, that tiny gearbox in the 325i, is completely different than the gearbox in the E39 M5. But I'm gonna try this sauce and see how I like it. Hopefully it's a bit better, especially this thing is really good for friction and whatever. So we're gonna give it a go, and then as the time passes, I'm gonna let you know how it goes and if I feel any improvements. Otherwise, there's nothing that can be done, I guess. I know some guys in the US run Royal Purple, but I heard the same thing. It's really good in the beginning, but as the time passes, you're back to square one. So if you have any suggestions as well, let me know, and I'll ignore them. Anyway, let's go. As always, crack open the fill plug first. Get eye protection, because this is going to be one big splash. Brace yourself. Yep. What did I tell you? It's pretty clean. So let it drip away. Refit the plug, and I use some thread sealer. Pay attention, I didn't say locker, thread sealer, so it doesn't leak through the threads of the plug. First, add the additive. Squeeze it in there. Now replenish with oil. I love Liqui Moly bottles because they have this thing. Makes it easy to refill. Pump. And we're pumping until the fluid comes out. Whoa. Yep, we're there. Let it drip out and then refit the plug. Alright, that's enough. Give it some torque. That's enough. And then just clean it. And now the diff oil. If you remember when I made a video on this car last time, it was a long time ago, the diff was wet. It was leaking from the seal here. And now it's dry. I didn't clean this. So you gotta love its self-healing powers. Anyway, let's replace the fluid. Yep. Nice and full. And then a spanner. Will that work? It did. This is the liquid that we're going to use in the diff, 75W140 for limited slip differentials, which is what this car has. Add the additive. And now the fluid, 1.2 liter is the capacity. That fit, yep. Yep, full. Close it. Good. Now the coolant. It's been about 2 years since I flushed the coolant, so it's right on time. And it didn't use any since then. It's not leaking, so that's good. Can unscrew the cap, lay it like that, and then drain it from the bottom. The coolant is drained on 3 places. Radiator drain plug, of course, and then there are 2 plugs on the block. Gotta start with this one. Get ready to get coolant everywhere. Oh! Ooh, that hurts, bastard. No, there we are. And now we need to drain from the block. That's the plug here on the passenger side. That's on the driver's side, and that one is a little bit tricky to get to. You need to be a magician or made of rubber or something to get to it. And this one makes a mess. It really does. It goes everywhere. Yeah, great. Need a bigger pan, but don't have it. Oh yeah, it's going everywhere. So that went according to the plan. Really did. I have a bigger pan, but just now I realized it has a gaping hole over there, so I need to buy a new one. It's garbage. Okay, so that's fixed. Plug with a new gasket ring going in, and that's torqued. Now this one is a little bit trickier, but with long extensions, it's doable. Oh my. Oh, that was a firm one. So a lot less is gonna come out here. Here comes the waterfall. That's it. Now, new drain plug. Always try to use a new one because there's an O-ring on it and you don't want this to leak. Here's the new one. There it is. To vest it. Like that. And now let's spray brake cleaner everywhere. And that's all more or less clean. Now we're gonna go up top, re-add the coolant, start the car, and then come back and verify there are no leaks. This is the coolant from Liquid Moly, and it's blau, like Bmw coolant, and it's mixed 50-50 with Vasa. Adding the coolant to S65 engine is the easiest thing in the world. Ignition on, set the temperature to max, and fan on the lowest setting. That way heater core valves are open and we can start adding coolant. The system is self-bleeding, so you don't have to do any special bleeding procedure. Only that thing that I did in the cabin. Once you top it off to maximum, start it, let it cool off later, and recheck the coolant, add if necessary, and that's it. The level is good. Now you can start it, let it run for a little bit, and recheck coolant later. Now to verify your excellence, radiator drain plug not leaking, block not leaking, and good here as well. That is a job well done. Power steering fluid, it just uses your typical ATF. A really good way to flush the entire system on this car is to remove the power steering reservoir, then get a big bucket, fill it up with 4 or 5 liters of fresh ATF, connect the hose to the bottom of the bucket. You're gonna need a valve of some sort, then connect that line to the feed line, and then return line to an empty bucket. Start the car for 30 to 60 seconds and it's gonna flush the entire system. I think 3 liters should be more than enough. The whole system is 1.5 liters. I don't have space or such contraption to do that operation now, but I will in future because it's a really good way to make sure you flush the entire system. Now I'm just